Hello and a very warm welcome to Crafters TV. Welcome to the preview of our pick of the week, and my goodness me, we've got an exciting pick of the week coming up for you guys here today on Crafters TV. Now, I do say preview, however, little birdie tells me that the amazing product that we're launching today is actually already live over on the Crafters Companion website. So if you want to get in early, if you want to treat yourself to this fantastic collection, then you can absolutely do so before the pick of the week actually officially launches. So my top tip would be, you know what they say, the early bird catches the worm. What I'd say is get in nice and early, get over to the website, get yours ordered. Then what you can do, as throughout the day we're going to be featuring this fantastic product, you can sit back, you can relax, and you can enjoy all those demonstrations between myself and Sarah coming out throughout the course of the day. So you're going to make sure you're going to get that product nice and safe home, and you're going to have lots of inspiration coming up with this fantastic product. Now, I do say new launch, and if you don't know already, what we are launching today is a fantastic collection of our envelope templates. And I say envelope templates, but not just the templates. You are getting a fantastic 12 by 12 inch paper pack included as well as part of this incredible collection. So this is what you're going to be getting home as part of this amazing, a brand new pick of the week. This is our template and bumper paper pad. So if I turn this over, you can get a little bit of an idea of the sort of incredible things that you're getting as part of this collection. I will take you through all the templates and all the papers in just a few moments time, but you are getting 28 different envelope templates, including all the envelope liners as well. And I will show you as we go throughout the course of this 1 hour show how you can use those incredible liners to give your envelopes that really professional finishing touch. All those templates included and all the papers as well. So let's have a little look to start with at some of those incredible templates. So I'll move that out of the way, try and clear a little bit of space because I've got all sorts going on here, lots and lots I want to show you throughout the course of this show. And I have to say as well, we do have the main pick of the week coming up at 2 o'clock UK time. We are featuring it as well on Wake Up Call, and I'm going to be a little bit sneaky, and I'm also going to bring it in on Friday Night Live. So you're going to have tons and tons of inspiration coming up throughout the course of the day. We talk about envelopes, but believe you me, there is tons you can do with an envelope. Anything from creating your cards, toppers for cards, they could be toppers on scrapbook pages, they could be memory albums, junk journals, lots you can do with them, and we'll hopefully be inspiring you throughout the course of the day as to all the things you can do with an envelope. But here are all the incredible templates that you are getting. So I'm not going to show you every single one, I'll just show you a few, just to give you a little bit of an idea of the sorts of things that you are getting as part of this collection. And what I love about this one is we've actually brought you different card sizes in both the UK and the US. So we've got the card sizes that are perhaps typically more UK with the 5 inch by 7 inch, and we're also catering for you guys stateside as well in terms of US letter size card stock. So lots and lots of scope for lots of different styles and shapes of envelopes. And we've also varied up the sort of the shape of the envelope, so you've got more of a rounded flap on that 5 inch by 7 inch one. If we bring in this 1/4 inch US letter one, you can see you've got more of a sort of straight edge flap, so lots of different versatility in terms of the shapes of envelopes that you've got. Every single template here is very clear, very easy to understand in terms of the way that we've labelled these up. So you've got that lovely, nice and strong mylar that these are made from. They're not like the old style templates that we used to have many, many years ago that were made of paper, that you used them a few times, they pretty much fell to bits. These are going to last year in, year out. As long as you take care of them, they are going to last for many, many years to come. Yeah, I've got all those space in there that you could just going to draw in with your pencil or your heat erasable marker. We will show you, of course, how you can do that throughout the course of the show. And then where we've got the score lines, we've actually marked those with the correct labelling as well. So it's nice and easy to understand if you've never used a template before. We've also labelled up exactly the size of card that these are going to fit into. And with envelopes, very much like the pre-made envelopes and card bases that you buy in the shops, we have included, so it's going to be a little bit larger than that size, which means that the card is going to be measuring to that exact size, and it's going to fit perfectly into that envelope, which is going to give you that lovely professional finish. Now those are templates. You are getting absolutely tons of your envelope templates, but if I move forward a little bit in this collection here, this huge stack, I mean, when you guys get in this home, look at all the templates that you're getting here. There are absolutely tons and tons, oodles of different templates of different shapes and sizes for all the different sort of card bases. But not just about creating those envelopes, it's about creating the liners as well. So if I bring in this gorgeous envelope that we've put together already here, you can see you've got that lovely pattern paper on the outside that is included as part of this collection as well. And then if we open this up, you can see you get that lovely liner as well. Almost like a matte and layer with this one. It's ever so slightly smaller, probably about 2 or 3 millimeters smaller than that envelope itself, which gives you that lovely white border. I mean, how professional does that look? To have that beautiful envelope with that liner inside, it looks absolutely stunning with that lovely contrasting print. Does look really professional. You can see here, I think this is a 5" by 5", yeah, 5 by 5" envelope, fitting that lovely card in absolutely perfectly. It just completes that experience, not just a beautiful handmade card that you're gifting, you've also got that gorgeous envelope which matches perfectly. So that's how your liners sort of come into play. I will show you a few samples just before I show you that gorgeous paper pad. You can see there using your nice little small slimline cards, going perfectly into that envelope that we've created using the papers in this collection, alongside that envelope liner as well. So you've got that sort of full experience from the outside of your envelope all the way into the inside, and then obviously you've got that beautiful card settling in the inside there as well. Now I was talking about doing lots of other things rather than just creating your standard envelopes to put your cards in, and this one's a great example. So we've popped a little belly band around this envelope here. And instead of sticking the envelope flaps down, we've actually left all of them unstuck, which allows you to open all 4 of those flaps up, and then you could just pop a nice little hidden message on the inside. So you've got almost like a little bit of a secret card if you want it to be in that sort of way as well. And also matted and laid using those absolutely gorgeous papers that you are getting as part of the collection. So we'll pop that one back together. Love that sort of idea, but very easy to create once you've got your templates, and you can be creating it time and time again perfectly using all those templates. How about popping them onto cards? We will create something similar on tonight's Friday Night Live by popping a photo inside of our envelope, but just adding a little hidden message onto the inside of there creates a lovely little feature, almost like a topper on the front of your card bases. There's just so much you can do with them, but just using them in their most simple form as money envelopes, as cards, as envelopes for your cards, they look absolutely stunning. You've even got the ability to cut your little slit onto there, which the envelope flap will just easily slide into. So that's the sort of things you can be doing with these incredible templates, but I will show you next because I absolutely love the papers in this collection. They are beautiful. The most gorgeous, really sort of uplifting springtime, summertime sort of colours as part of this paper pad that we've got here. And the GSM of this is really important. We talk about box making quite a lot in terms of making sure that we've got nice, strong cardstock. We'll recommend like a 300 GSM when we're talking about our construction, our box making. Envelope making is a little bit different. You want to go for something a little bit thinner. If you want that authentic envelope sort of look and feel, we tend to go for a little bit of a thinner paper rather than a card, but there's nothing stopping you from using your cardstock. If you want to use all those card pads that you've got, then by all means you can absolutely do that. But what we've done with this lovely paper pad is we've made sure it's in paper pad form, so it's 115 GSM. It's not weak, it's not flimsy, it's not going to sort of crimple or anything like that. It's still got a nice strength to it, but it's not a super thick card, so it's going to give you that lovely sort of envelope look and feel. I've got all the gorgeous florals, all in 12 by 12" size with this one, and they are all uncoated, and we will actually show you in the first demo why it's so fabulous to have an uncoated paper for these. It allows you to add your inks, it could be your glitter glues, you could be adding your gilding flakes, your gilding waxes to these. There's nothing stopping you as well from actually embossing these, using your embossing folders and then creating them into templates. You could have a beautifully printed and embossed envelope, so it's not just about using them in their raw form. I mean, they are gorgeous as they are already, but you can further enhance them with all those goodies that we have in our crafty stash. Oh, I tell you what would be nice, you know, all our lovely glitter paste that we brought to you over the past few years, and your stenciling over these and then creating a glitter pasted envelope. That would be absolutely stunning. I mean, talk about a luxury envelope. It's certainly not the sort of white cheap envelopes you get bills sent in, that is for certain. Absolutely stunning designs in here. All the florals, loving the polka dots, all those little stripes. Of course, these are going to be great for your envelopes, but you can use them for tons more besides, for your card making as well, in your home decor, your scrapbooking. Absolutely beautiful prints. You are getting all these gorgeous sheets. You're getting 12 designs, 3 of each, which is giving you your 36 sheets of that gorgeous design in total. So that's what we're getting all your fabulous templates, getting all your papers, and you've got the ability to create as many envelopes as you could possibly wish. Now, we will show you in just a few moments how we can get working with this fantastic collection, but before I do that, I'm going to have to say hello to you guys who are watching it along at home, because there's a few of you, I can see them all popping up. There's a few of you guys watching at home and commenting already, so it's lovely to have your company. It's me for this, and lots of fun coming up, that is for certain. So let's say hello to you lovely guys at home. We've got Lois saying good morning, everyone from Ohio. You guys stateside, it must be dead early for you. Lois, is it about 5 a.m. your time? Let me know, how early is it? I mean, it's 10 o'clock here, so it's not too early, but for you guys stateside, really do appreciate you getting up early. But we know what you say, early bird catches the worm, and you guys know that if you're shopping early, you can sit back, relax, watch the demos, and you guys know that you are definitely getting this fantastic collection home. So hello to you, Lois. Louise Burton is saying, hello everyone, happy Friday. I keep forgetting it's Friday. Happy Friday to you too, Louise, and everyone watching at home. Julie Palmer saying good morning from France. Ooh la la. Any other places? We were asking you earlier this week, anybody who's watching from somewhere that we might have not read out that place name before, whether it's a different country, a different city, a different town, let us know. We love to hear, especially if they've got quite an amusing name. What was the one Ben was saying the other day? Inner Ting Tong. Anybody watching Inner Ting Tong? It's going to be my life mission to find a viewer, a CTV viewer in Inner Ting Tong or Outer Ting Tong. We don't discriminate. Let me know. Sweet Bee Creative Studios in saying good morning. Steve and Nicole saying good morning, Lily. Ruth is in saying hi, everyone. Lynn Harvey is saying hi, Lily, the amazing CTV team. I think there might be a bit of a typo. Bone Wonderful Social Superstar. Anyway, hello, social superstar and everyone. Hope everyone is well and enjoying their day. Lynn Morton is in saying good morning, all you lovely crafters. And we've got a question I forgot to ask you guys at home. Remember what Ben said, if you don't think he'll ask you a question, I will. So I'll do exactly the same. You guys at home, any questions, whether it's about this, any questions in general. We've got a whole hour, just you and me for this hour, so any questions, get them in, and I'll definitely do my very best to answer them. So what's Lynn asking? Lynn is asking, I missed if sizes were given with a phone call. What is the biggest template card size, please? That's a great question. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little investigate. It depends, because some of them are sort of more long and thin, some of them are bigger but more rectangular, if that makes sense. I think the biggest is probably 5 inch by 7 inch. I wonder if it says on the back of the packet. Let's have a little look for you guys at home. So I don't think it lists all of them on the back. I reckon it's probably going to be a 5 by 7. But you do have some quite long and thin ones. You've got your DL as well. So let's have a little look. Oh, they're all the wrong way around. Let's turn these the right way up so we can see a little bit better. You've got a mix of your squares and your rectangles as well, Lynn. So if you are, perhaps you prefer your squares, perhaps you prefer your rectangles, you've got something for everyone. So you do have your 5 by 7, which is probably a large one, but you have your slim lines. So your slim lines 3.5 by 8.5. So that's probably the longest measurement that we've got as part of this collection. So I'll probably say 5 by 7 or 3.5 by 8.5, depending on how you're sort of looking at it. 5.5 inch square is probably the largest square one that we've got as part of this collection. So I'd say, yeah, 5 by 7, your slimline, or your 5.5 inch square. So hopefully that helps. Lois is saying, I ordered this item from HSN, can't wait for it to arrive. Yes, Lois, I did hear it was incredibly popular on HSN. I believe it's sold out, actually. So if you did miss out, then now's your chance to get it via Crafters TV. And Alison says, can I ask which template would fit A5, please? Well, I'm hoping we've got an A5 template, so let's find out. I know we've definitely got an A6, but let's have a little look as to whether we've got an A5. I'm just going to have a little rifle through here. So A5, if I remember rightly, is A5 half of A4? I believe it is. Let's have a look. The 5 by 7 one might fit quite nicely. Let's grab that to one side, and then if we can't find an A5 one, we'll make an A5 card base, and we'll see if that one's going to fit nicely. We've got an A6 in there. But they're more for slightly smaller cards, I'd say, rather than your really whopping great big cards that we sometimes make. I'd say they're probably more for your medium to smaller size cards. But let's see how this is going to look with an A5 card. So I'm just going to grab a piece of cardstock. So just a piece of white cardstock so we can create an A5 card base. So we'll take our scoreboard. This is literally crafting on the hoof here, so hopefully we'll be all right. And it's about 5 3. Right, well, it's about 5 3/4. So I don't think, unfortunately, Alison, I don't think A5. If A5 is half of A4, it's a little bit too big for any of the ones in this this collection, unfortunately. However, if you guys are loving this, you never know. We might, I can't promise anything, but if you guys are absolutely loving this, you never know. We may bring out more in the future. Who knows? I mean, we did it with the template library, so who knows? Margaret is saying, good morning from Montana, 3 a.m. here. Now that is very, very early. It's lovely to have you with us. I hope you've got coffee. I hope you've got a few matchsticks keeping those eyelids open. That is certainly is dedication, but it's lovely to have you with us. Lynn Harvey on Facebook is saying the envelope templates will come in useful. They certainly will, Lynn, believe you me. I'm thinking I can make my own money gift envelopes for occasions like Christmas, birthdays, weddings and so much more. Lynn Harvey, have you been reading my mind? Because that's what I'm going to do for the first demo. How did you know? We'll show you that in just a few moments' time. Deanna is saying, question coming in. What do you use in regards to the closure of the envelope? Is there a special envelope glue? I think, Deanna, what you're referring to is the flap rather than when we actually stick the envelope together. We personally don't do a envelope glue, But what I tend to use, I'll tend to use a double-sided tape that's not as strong as your red liner tape. So for the actual fastening of closing the envelope and building the envelope, I'll tend to use a red liner tape or a really nice strong adhesive like your tape pen. But I'll tend to use a slightly, I don't want to say weaker because it sounds like I'm insulting it a little bit and I don't mean to. But like a double-sided finger lift tape that's not as strong, I'll tend to use just a tiny little piece of that onto the end of the envelope. You could, Jamie, my ear's giving the tips to you guys at home, he says a dotted tape pen, you could. I don't know if it'd be quite strong enough, but worth giving it a go. I think in the past, many moons ago, we brought you a envelope glue. We don't do it these days, I'm afraid. I'm sure other people do, but if you're going to be using Crafters Companion products, I'd probably say go for a little bit of your finger lift tape, just on the flap, rather than all the way around. And that should just about hold it, but not hold it too strong, if that makes sense. And then Julie Palmer, as she was saying, just ordered mine. Julie, you will love it. Now, I know we've not got details on the screen just yet. We will be bringing you all the deals, all the details in the future shows. I say we, I mean Sarah, at 2 p.m. Wake Up Call as well. I do believe Sarah will be giving the details in Wake Up Call, even though it only officially launches at 2 p.m. But we've got it at 10 a.m. Never mind, if you guys can buy it, then go ahead. But in terms of the deal, I know for a fact we definitely have a showstopper. So have a little look on the website. I don't know if the showstopper is live, but there will be a showstopper where you're getting absolutely tons of goodies, and I'll be bringing in some of the items in the showstopper into demo as well, which is, before, I was going to say, which is what we're going to do now, but before we get into demo, I've got one more question coming in from Sandra Edmonds on YouTube saying, Lily, can I ask what is the largest size template? Sorry if you've only just joined, so watching delayed version. Don't worry, Sandra, this is what we're here for. We established, it depends whether you're looking for the length or sort of like the overall size of the template. I would say the two largest, I would go for either your 5x7, which is a really nice large size envelope there, or your slimline one. Now, where's my slimline one gone? I think it's 3.5. Here we go, slimline, 3.5 by 8.5. So it's going to be either of those two, either your slimline or your 5x7, are probably your largest ones. Oh, getting so many questions through, guys. I'm absolutely loving this. Let's. I'll carry on as soon as the questions stop. I'll start demo, but I just want to make sure that I'm answering all your questions. So I will answer all these questions before we start at demo. Ruth, what is in the goodie bag in the showstopper? I don't think I can tell you. I can tell you a few items because one of them's coming into demo. I will tell you a few items, but I'll be honest, I've not actually got it under here. So all I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to remember what I can. This is like a game, isn't it? I'm going to have to remember what I can off the top of my head, but it's good. So we'll come on to that in just a few moments' time. And then Fiona Wright on Facebook is saying, hi Lily, the showstopper, do we get to see what's in the goodie bag, trying to decide which options to pick? Fiona, you will, absolutely. If not at 12 o'clock wake up call, I'll be honest, it's Sarah, she probably will show you at 12. But if not, definitely 2. Newsflash, Johnny Meir is saying we will definitely show you at 12 o'clock. So definitely at 12 o'clock we'll show you the goodie bag. So don't worry, Fiona. It's not, I know we call it a bit of a goodie bag and you sort of think you'll never see, but we're a bit naughty. We tend to show you exactly what's in there. So definitely we will show you that later on. Right, I think I'm up to date as it stands, and I think we're going to get into demo, quite frankly. So I'm going to have a little leaf through my templates, and I'm going to pick out the money. This is for you. Was it Lynn? Yeah, it was Lynn. Lynn, this is for you, finding the money envelope template. Now, most of these have been designed specifically for your card bases. So, like I was talking about, your US letter sizes, your sort of inch or more UK standard sort of sizes that you've got within here. But you've also got your money sort of envelope template. It'll be right at the bottom of the pile, I'm sure it will. Right, there's our template. Then we've just got to find our liner. So for every sort of template you're going to produce, there is 2 templates here. So you've got your liner and then you've got your standard envelope template. And what that allows you to do, it allows you to get that lovely professional finish by bringing in your liner to your envelope. Where is it? Oh dear, I did say it'd be right at the bottom. Keep going, keep going. So we've got our money envelope. Oh, have I missed it? Oh dear. Right, we'd have to go back to the beginning. This is riveting, I do apologise. But we've got our money envelope template. Now we just need our money envelope liner template. That sounds like a lot of words for what I was trying to say there. You guys know what I mean, hopefully anyway. At least it allows you to see some more of the envelopes that we've got, the shapes and sizes. There it is, liner template, money envelope. So let's get that out of the pile and let's move all these templates out of the way. I feel like I'm already trashing this desk here. By the end of the show, I'm going to be working in an area that's about that big, which is not exactly ideal. So, oh, Tracy was saying it's like the generation game, remembering the goodie bag. Isn't it? I'm gonna have to try my best and see what I can remember. So we're gonna be creating something a little bit like this, which is our fantastic money envelope. So you can see there, you've got that lovely lining on the inside, you've got that gorgeous polka dot on the outside, and this is where the first item from our goodie bag comes into play. You are getting this gorgeous With Love on Valentine's stamp and die set. So it allows you to create that gorgeous frame work around the edge. You've got that inner sort of plaque die with that gorgeous stitch detail, and you actually have 3 separate sentiments included in stamp form and one in die form as well. Off the top of my head, I'm doing my best to remember, you do get this gorgeous love design, but you also get this champagne celebration. So I know this is definitely 2 that I can remember, 2 ticked off the list from that goodie bag. You're getting 2 of these die sets. So this one, and you are going to get that champagne celebration. Same sort of idea, it's just a slightly different design around the edge and different in terms of those sentiments. So that's one I can definitely remember from that fantastic showstopper. So move those out of the way and we'll bring in some of our lovely papers from the collection. So we'll start off with our envelope itself, and for that I've taken a piece of this gorgeous polka dot paper here, and we'll start off with our money envelope template, which is here. Now my top tip for any envelope, whether it's the ones that we're using in our template library, and I mean if you guys at home love the template library, you'll absolutely love this. It's very much like the template library, but more just about your envelopes, I would say. My top tip for any template is if you've got straight edges, then I always cut my cardstock that's the same size as that outer edge. My theory always is the less cutting we can do by hand, the easier it's going to be, and quite frankly, the better. So what we've done here is we've got sort of the outer edge, if that makes sense, is straight, which means that we can cut our piece of cardstock so it's the same width as that template top to bottom, and we've got a straight edge which is going to line up against that edge there. Always try and find a straight edge on that template that you can line up with the edge of your cardstock. So we're just going to manoeuvre that into position where we can see that edge, and that edge are all lined up with that left hand side of that piece of paper. Then all we'll do is we'll grab a pencil. I always just make sure I'm anchoring that template into position using my left hand here. It does help if you use the pencil the right way around, Lily. That definitely does help. So make sure you've got a nice sharp pencil. Sharp pencil does make a big difference, enabling you to get into that line that we've got with these templates. And I love the fact that with this one, we've not made the template so it's actually the same shape and size as the image, if that makes sense. What we've actually done is the image is sort of an indentation, if you like, or that cut line on the inside of a larger piece. So it just makes them a little bit more hard wearing and makes it a little bit easier to work with as well. So I'm making sure I'm keeping that left hand clamped into position, holding that template into place, and I'm just drawing around those edges. So that's giving us that outer shape of our template there. Then all we're going to do, and this is always my top tip when it comes to score lines, and never draw the whole length of the score line onto there. My reason being is then we'd have to rub the whole score line out. I find it a lot easier. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark on the left and the right hand side of that score line, and I know I've got to score between those 2 points. I don't need to mark out that whole centre line. I know that if I'm lining up between those 2 score lines, those 2 little markings there, then I'm going to get a lovely nice straight score line. Exactly the same with all these other score lines, and don't forget the templates are telling you everywhere where you need to score, it's going to tell you that it's a score line, so you're not having to guess whether it's a cut line or a score line. The template is literally telling you, it's all printed on there, and then you can see there we've got another cut line, and with that being a cut line, I'm just going to draw the whole length of that little cut line there, and that's going to be the slit where the envelope flap is actually going to join into. Quick little check around just to make sure that I've actually drawn around all the elements. At the end of the day, if you do forget, if you do remove your template and you realise you've missed a little bit, because you've already got some elements that are drawn onto there, it's easy enough to line it back over the elements that you have drawn and then just go back in and redraw any of the elements that you might have missed. I have to say, the amount of times I miss bits on templates is beyond a joke at this point, quite frankly. It tends to be one of those things I always have to miss. A little bit like when we're doing our list for a craft long, everyone always has to miss one thing off. It tends to be like a pair of scissors or something like that. Same with templates, I always tend to miss a bit off, but I think we're all right this time round. Now, personally, I find it easiest to actually cut the template out first. So all we'll do is we'll grab a pair of scissors, and a nice sharp pair of scissors is absolutely crucial for your templates, just to get that nice clean cut. Tell you what you could be doing actually with any of your straight lines on your template here, you could be using your little paper trimmer. I wouldn't be using your guillotine for those sections there, just because you need a partial cut. But what you could be doing is you could be using your your paper trimmer, partial cut all the way down to there, rather than using a pair of scissors. But personally, I do love a little bit of cutting out, so I'm more than happy to go in with my pair of scissors. We're going to go around and cut the outer first, and then we'll show you in just a few moments' time how you cut that middle bit. So going round with our pair of scissors, and I always find it much easier when you are doing your cutting out. It's a little bit like when we're doing our colouring actually, where we always turn our piece of cardstock that we're colouring onto rather than trying to manoeuvre our hand too much. It's always easier to move your cardstock rather than trying to move your pair of scissors. Easier just to sort of feed that cardstock or that paper through your pair of scissors to give that lovely clean smooth cut all around the edge. So just taking your time. To be honest with you guys at home, I've probably chosen the most tricky template to start off with in terms of cutting out, just to show you that none of them are difficult, none of them require you to be an absolute whiz with a pair of scissors. It's just about taking your time and just making sure, ease round. I always have my scissors, rather than having them dead on like that, I tend to have them at a little bit of an angle. I find that gives you a smoother cut around your template. And then for that piece there, rather than trying to angle it that way, I'll tend to just turn it the other way and then just cut in to that line there until they meet. And that's how we cut out all those sections, all those pieces on the outside. Now, at this point, for that little section onto the centre, what I need to do, if I can find one in here, is we need to grab ourselves a craft knife. I don't know where the craft knives have gone. Talk amongst yourselves. My craft knives seem to have disappeared. I hear in my ear apparently we're blaming Craig for this one. Right, I'll show you an alternative. If you haven't got a craft knife, which quite frankly I could probably spend the next half an hour looking for that, and I don't think you guys at home particularly want to see that. I'll tell you an option. If you've not got a craft knife, if you have got a craft knife, all you do, imagine this is a craft knife, if you go in and cut around that with your craft knife. However, unfortunately we don't have a craft knife, so what we'll do is we'll take our pokey tool, we'll pop just a little hole into any old part of that line. It doesn't have to be at the end like I've done there. And I'm just going to make sure it's large enough to fit my little pair of scissors into there. So I'm just going to slide them in. Might be a little bit small, but there we go. Just make that hole a little bit bigger, and then we can just cut from there. It's not as perfect as using your craft tool, but oh, Johnny's come to the rescue. A little bit too late. Oh, oh well, thank you. Oh, there we go. We can do the other half, but that is an option. If you don't have your craft knife, perhaps you can't find it like we couldn't there, then what you can do is you can actually go in with your poker tool just to pierce a hole, and then you can just go in with your pair of scissors just to complete that cut. However, going in with your craft knife, now, because this is obviously a nice curved design, then your swivel craft knife will be perfect for this, to give you that lovely, nice, crisp, clean cut. I know it's not absolutely perfect at the end there, but because our flap will be going into that section there, it will be covered quite well anyway, so we don't need to worry about that too much. It will be fine. And this is where we bring in our scoreboard. Now, top tip for any of these templates, and any template in general, what I would always recommend with any scoreboard that you use day in, day out, your sort of most used scoreboard, I always mark the centre point or just any score line on that scoreboard. You need to have a mark. You can use your permanent markers, you can use something like one of your classic black pens, because what we're going to do, rather than trying to measure, for example, say if we're going to measure it 2, rather than trying to pop that top mark there on 2 and trying to work out where the 2 inches at the bottom, because obviously we can see the 2 at the top, but we can't see where the 2 is lower down. So if you have your marking onto your scoreboard, you can line your top line onto that black line there, and your bottom marking onto that bottom line there, and then it's nice and easy. Let's use our smallest scoring tool. I'm trying to work out which one's small. I think that one's ever so slightly smaller. We can just score between the 2, and it makes it so much easier by having that black marking on that centre section. It makes it so much easier to find where you're actually scoring between. So I'm not worrying about what measurement it is, whether it's 3 inches, 4 inches, whatever it might be. I'm just worrying about lining up that top and bottom marking, and then literally just scoring between those 2, just like so. So scoring from the bottom to the top. And as always, and particularly important because it is a thinner weight paper rather than a cardstock, rather than trying to score really heavily and really sharply onto that score line, I'm actually just going to go in nice and gently and just scoring multiple times over that score line. So just going down, starting off very, very gentle, and then just starting to build up that score line. And then one final little marking on that right hand side, just to pop onto there, score, and then we are good to go and start building our envelope. Now what we'll do is we'll start to reinforce all of these score lines that we've got onto our template. So I tend to just turn it over, finds it a little bit easier to see where all those markings are, and we are just going to go around and reinforce all of those markings onto there. So that's our envelope itself, but we'll pop that to one side, move that out of the way for the second, and we'll just bring in another piece of beautiful paper here from that paper pad. And what we'll do with this one, if I can find me, my goodness me, I'm making an absolute mess on here. There it is. Do you know what, it was staring straight at me? I was wondering where my liner template was, and it was literally to the side of me. But I'm making a terrible mess, I have to say. It's not looking good on here, is it? Dear oh dear. I promise I will help tidy up before Sarah comes in, because you can't craft in this, quite frankly. There's no space barely any space for me. When you're halfway through, dear oh dear. You know what us crafters are like, terrible for making a mess, which is fitting quite nicely with the message that Jane sent in, saying, doesn't matter how big the table is, a crafter always ends up with a small working area. Jane, you're not wrong. I could have the whole room as a table, when you still end up with a tiny little space to work into. So we've got our liner template here, and exactly the same idea once again, where I've cut my cardstock or my paper to the size of that template there. So I've got that left hand side lined up against the edge of the cardstock. So all I need to do is just draw out that right hand side and then pop a couple of markings in there for my score line. And all we'll do, same once again, is we'll just grab our pair of scissors and we'll just cut this nice lacy edge. And that lacy edge is going to sort of fit nice. It's going to nestle, almost like a nesting day, I suppose, onto the inside of our envelope. It'll give us a little bit of a matting layer. She'll have that slight white edge, and it'll just be almost like a mat in the inside of your envelope, which is going to finish it off perfectly. So we'll just guide our scissors round. Same sort of tips as we had for cutting out the envelope itself. We're turning our paper rather than our pair of scissors, and we are angling our scissors at a slight sort of angle as well, just to make sure we're going to get that lovely smooth clean cut, and that gives us our lovely liner for our envelope. Now we'll bring back in our scoreboard here. And just to note, you don't need a whopping great big scoreboard for these. If you've only got your smaller scoreboards, like your A4 ones like your Scoremaster, they're going to work for all of your templates with no problem at all. So you don't need your big score or anything like that. Your smaller scoreboards will still work an absolute treat. So nice little score line onto there. And then once again, we'll reinforce this score line. A little bit different in terms of the folds with this one. This one we're going to fold sort of this way. So we're folding that pattern paper sort of towards itself rather than away from itself, like we did with the envelope itself. And then you can see that's going to fit absolutely perfectly into the centre of there. Now we'll bring in some of our, tell you what we'll bring in our Collal all-purpose for sticking our liner to our envelope. Now top tip in terms of lining up your inside with your outside of your envelope is to line up first along that score line. Line up the score line is sort of the most important thing in terms of making sure that everything is going to fit together nicely. So we'll pop some glue onto there. I always make sure that I go around the edge using my glue, and then make sure that I'm going sort of on either side of that score line in the centre. And then we'll just turn that over. The first thing we're looking at is that score line, matching those two score lines up, making sure that we've got an even spacing of that white on that left and the right hand sides, making sure that's nice and lined up. And then once that's in position, you'll notice around the edge the rest tends to sort of fall into place, so we get a nice little burnish onto there, and then our envelope liner will be nicely stuck onto the inside. Just reinforce that score line. Obviously with us now having two pieces of paper stuck together, just giving that a nice reinforce onto there. And then it's in terms of sticking the envelope together. Now this one's a little bit different with it being in a sort of that money envelope, the wallet style, rather than a typical envelope per se. So all we're going to do with this one, we just need to stick our two flaps down. So those two flaps are going to stick to there, and that's going to give us that nice space on the inside, and then that's just going to fit into that little slit there. So I would recommend either your red liner tape or your tape pen. Just for speed, because I know nobody wants to see me spend absolutely ages trying to peel the backing off red liner tape. We'll go with our tape pen, but for me, if I was crafting at home, I'd be getting your 12mm red liner tape and popping that onto your tabs there. So plenty of your tape pen onto those two tabs there, and then that's just going to fold up. So I'm going to make sure I'm holding those two tabs so they're nicely sort of folded flat. We'll just line that up. So I'm lining up that fold there with the left-hand side of that back piece, and I'm just going to fold that across by burnishing that bottom score line, and just making sure I'm giving that a little old burnish to activate all that glue. Then in order to fasten it, all we'll do is we'll just open up this little slit here that we beautifully cut out earlier. Well, not quite, we cut it out, we'll put it that way, and that creates your gorgeous money envelope. Now, if you are getting the showstopper, what you can be doing is you can be decorating this up using those gorgeous dies. So I was talking earlier about how these papers are uncoated. What we've done is we've taken some of our glitter glues. I do believe we had a bundle on earlier this week with our glitter glues. I can't think what day I was on. Was it Monday, Tuesday? I can't remember. We had a bundle on earlier this week, but it's the clear glitter glues that we've used onto that paper and onto that frame as well. But how gorgeous is that? You could be popping, it could be a gift voucher in there, some money, anything at all really that's that sort of size and shape, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. But you guys have seen that literally start to finish, how easy it is to create with this fantastic system here. It's all the templates, all the liners, every single envelope template that it has a matching envelope liner, and you've got all those 36 sheets of your 12x12 pad. I think it's just a fantastic, it's an ingenious idea, and I know you guys at home are going to love it as much as I do when you get yours home. A few more comments, then we will go to a quick break, and then we've got one more demo to squeeze in. It's a little bit more involved, so I'm going to have to stop yapping quite so much. I'm going to have to get on with it because I want to share that one with you. Quite excited about it, I have to say. Who we've got asking questions? We've got, Lynn Harvey, good question. How many templates are there altogether? I believe there's 28. I'll try and find the box under this pile of templates here. Let's have a look. It is saying includes 28 different envelope templates. There you go, 28. Lovely. And then you have got, who have we got else asking questions? We've got Linda Proctor on Facebook saying, morning, going to love envelope making. I have to say, Linda, it's an awful lot of fun. It's very, very satisfying. Lois is in saying, it's fabulous that different sets can be used together. Fun, fun. Kim Bryce has got a question. For storage purposes, will all the templates fit in a 12x12 storage pocket? Yes, they will. Do you know what? I've not worked out myself how I was going to store mine, but if you've got any of the older 12x12 sort of buddy bags that we did from Totally Tiffany, then yeah, they'll all fit in. Anything that's sort of 12x12 size, they'll all fit into there perfectly. Or you can just store them in the box. They still look gorgeous in the box stored in there. Jane is saying, she's saying about, doesn't matter how big the table is, a crafter will always ends up with a small working area. So true. Christine Baker is saying, good morning from Alberta, Canada. 3:26 a.m. here. I'm a night owl. Christine, I'm not sure if that's a night owl. That's more of a morning owl, a very early morning owl. Hope you're all right. It's lovely to have you with us. Laurie is saying, hi, why am I awake? It's 2:30 a.m. here in Arizona. Good question, Laurie. Why are you awake? But I'm glad you are, and I'm glad you are joining us. Lois is saying, beautiful money envelope. Thank you, Lily. And Lynn Harvey is saying, great demo. I absolutely love that, but so easy to create. Now, we're going to give you guys a chance to perhaps grab yourself a cup of coffee if you're stateside and it's 2:30 a.m. Or don't forget as well, you can check out this fantastic brand new pick of the week over on the website. We'll be back in just a few moments' time, and I'll see you then.
Hey you, the CC crew, you show us what to make, what to buy, how to do. Hey you, the CC crew, Ben, Sarah, Craig, Debbie, Boogaloo. Hey you, the CC crew, carry on the programme as we all need you. Hey you, the CC crew, you keep us all company and we can't do without you. I thought that was really good. And I feel like I should go, wow, wow, wow.
A few weeks ago on the show, we were talking about places where all you guys lived. Well, we might have used Google Earth just to have a bit of a sneaky look at the village, town, or city that you lived in. And I thought it might be quite funny if I wrote a little ditty and I put on my Facebook page, where do y'all live? And I'll put your towns and cities and village into my little song. But I didn't realize that there would be about 425 responses, so I'm gonna cram as many places into this song as I can, but I won't get them all in. We craft everywhere, man, we craft everywhere, from over here to there, man, we craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man, we craft everywhere. We craft in Lydney, Lynbrook, Launceston, Lehana, Tampa, Darlington, Almond Beach, Sedalia, Wills Point, Widnes, Wildwood, Weldon, Marsh, Tackwell Lake, Walkerburn, Yate, Bay, Hesperia, Sublimity, Pinho, Avon, Freeport, Mapleton, San Jose, Enumclaw, Great Bend, Detroit, Peniston. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Crafting Parachute, Paradise, Pollux, Papillion, Sheets of Bay, St. Petersburg, Seacon, Sutton, Saturday, Bristol, Brighton, Brooklyn, Blackwell, Barnsley, Tide Squeeze, South Shields, Temple Hills and Bentley, Tampa, Pillar, Tucumcari, Ottawa, Hull, Harrisburg, Lexington, Tupelo, Cincinnati, Austinburg. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Craft in Loxahatchee, Lakesville, Lawrence, Lacey, Livermore, Albuquerque, Weeki-Wachee, Pensacola, Ellsworth, Port, Mechanicsburg, Williamsburg, Rebella, Houston, Burlington, Wet Wang, Market, Drayton, Yale, Medford, Wellington, Wapakoneta, Homer, Sassa, Santa Rosa, Wichita, Honolulu, Riverdale, Melbourne, Commerce, Fintana. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Crafting Newton Abbey, Richmond, Dudley, Georgetown, East Kilbride, Eugene, Ferrum, Brentwood, Walkerstown, Newarheim, Fort Wayne, Gloucester, Chester, Long Beach, Raphael, St. Dominic, St. Cloud, St. Augustine Beach, Sand Springs, Romford, Tulsa, Traverse City, Wesley Chapel, Ballarat, Medina, Ramble City. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. Crafting Sawbrook, Tucson, Kissimmee, Philadelphia, Chicago, Las Vegas, Biloxi, Lafayette, Elmira, Glendale, Scottsdale, Anchorage, and Hurtville, Seattle, Gold Canyon, Ipswich, Cumberland, Unionville, Toledo, Miami, Atlanta, Cleveland, Gold Canyon, Altoona, Calounda, Port Orange, Glover, Rising Sun. We craft everywhere, man. We craft everywhere. From over here to there, man. We craft everywhere. In crafters we've got our share, man. We craft everywhere. And there's a few more places I didn't manage to get into the song. West Runton, Newcastle, Kingswood, Sandbach, Carlisle, Bewley, Albury, Durham, Springfield, Ashington. We craft in Greenville, Lincoln, Nebraska, Sumter, Oak Park, Winchester, Knapp Stoke-on-Trent, Mount Pocono, Greenville, Charlotte, Oxon Hill, Tunbridge Wells, Modesto, Haverhill, Sierra Vista, Arecibo, Morgantown, O'Fallon, Aurora, Black Forest. We craft in Hermiston, Brownsburg, Henderson, Socorro, Fort Myers, Mandenholm, Hilliard, Farmingdale, East Moline, Summers Point, Calgary, Charleston, Sawston, Malden, Galloway, Fitchburg, Hope Lawn, Aberdeen, Winstead, Castlewood, Chatsworth, Limestone, Victoria, Willoughby, Rockland, Canton, Falmouth, Conestoga, Lyndhurst, Ashbourne, and Cluj-Napoca. Oh yeah.
Welcome back to Crafters TV. Welcome back to the preview of our amazing pick of the week, where we're looking at our incredible envelope, template and paper pad collection. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different for our second hour. I've shown you the sort of basic concept of creating your envelopes, adding your liners, but if you are wanting to create something a little bit different, perhaps you've always wanted to get into your memory album making, but you're not quite sure where to start, perhaps you feel a little bit daunted about the really large albums by big scrapbooks, this is going to be the perfect way to create yourself a memory album, but using envelopes. How intriguing. Let's have a little look at what we can create using these amazing envelopes. So we're going to bring in one of our envelopes here, which is our 1/4 inch US letter. Quite frankly, you can do this sort of idea with any of the templates in the collection. It just so happens that I've decided to go for this particular one here. And what we've done is we've taken a piece of this lovely polka dot paper, which I've noticed matches perfectly the colour of my phone. So I'm coordinating quite nicely on the desk here. So we've got our piece of paper that we've cut to exactly the same size as that template once again. Because the outer perimeter of this design is all straight edges, we can cut our template to the same size as that cardstock. And once again, we're just bringing in our pencil and we're just going to go all around the edge of this template here, just marking out all around those different edges. Now, if you do find it a little bit more difficult to hold that template in position, you can always add a little bit of dotty tape pen just to the back of there, or a little bit of low tack tape just to hold that down. But I tend to find if I make sure that I keep one hand at all times sort of clamping that down, you should be absolutely fine. So we've got the outer perimeter all drawn down, and then once again with our score lines, I tend to mark just on either side rather than drawing the full length of that score line. We're just going to go around and mark onto all of those score lines. Now we'll take away our template. Although we're not using it for this particular project, of course you are going to get your 1/4 US letter liner template as well, which will fit perfectly into the centre of your envelope. But for this demo, we're going to do something a little bit different, so we're not actually going to need our liner template. So we'll go around the edges. When you come to an intersection like this, when it's sort of changed direction, I tend to move that cardstock and I'll go in the opposite sort of direction there to cut into that line. I find it a little bit easier to get a nicer finish, and you're less likely to get sort of scruffy edges to your cutting there. So we're doing exactly the same with that side. It's really just when you're using that straight edge of the cardstock, all it is really is just cutting out 4 corners almost with this design. So it's a very, very easy one to cut out with this one. Tell you what you could do with those corners. What you could do is you could cut them into a straight edge, and then you can just bring in one of your corner punches. If you've got any of our rounded corner punches that we've brought to you over in the past few years, you can absolutely go ahead and use those instead of actually cutting it by hand. So there's the edge of our template all cut out. We'll move all that waste out of the way, and we'll bring in our scoreboard here. But what we're going to do before we actually score our template, what we'll do is we're actually going to cut off the flap of our template. So the flap is the one that's slightly more curved. So if I bring it back in our template, the side where it's a little bit more curved, which is that bottom side as we're looking at it now, we're actually going to cut that off. So all we'll do, where we've got those two lines where it's meant to be between those that we're scoring, all we're going to do is we're just going to cut between those. Now you could have marked that whole length of the line there, the score line, using your pencil if you want a clearer mark to actually cut against. But we're just going to cut between those two lines there, and we've cut the flap of the envelope off, just like so. And then we'll bring in our scoreboard and we'll just go in and we'll just start to score between our markings. So we've got our marking top and bottom there. We'll just score between the two of those. Once again, scoring multiple times over there to make sure we're building up that score line nicely. Do exactly the same with that one there. And then our third score line, line up those 2 points onto that black mark that we've got onto our scoreboard, and we'll just score between those. We'll move that out of the way and we'll just start to reinforce all of our score lines onto here, just like so. So you can use your bone folder to help you score these, just give you that crisp edge, or just using your fingers, just like so, to reinforce and burnish all of those 3 score lines that we've popped onto our cardstock. Then all we need to do in terms of building this one is we need to fold in our 2 left and right hand flaps, and that bottom flap just folds up. Now with these, I find it a little bit easier to pop the adhesive onto these 2 flaps rather than onto this flap. So what we'll do is we'll just bring back in our pencil, and we'll add a slight mark as to where this flap sort of reaches on the 2 back sections, so we know exactly where to add our adhesive up to. We know we don't want any of that glue going above that line now. Just make sure that's got a little bit of a better burnish onto it, just like so. There we go. And we'll bring in our tape pen, and there's our pencil line. So we'll add our adhesive up to that line there, and we're adding it towards the right hand side, towards that inner point of that flap there. Then all we'll do is we'll hold these 2 back flaps into position, and then we'll just fold up that bottom piece, just like so, burnishing as we go to make sure we've got that nice crisp clean score line onto there, and that gives us our envelope without the liner and also minus the flap. So you're probably wondering where this is going, or will become clear, hopefully, in just a few moments' time as we start to build this together. So what we've done ahead of time is we've built a few of these envelopes. We've made a few of these envelopes up already, just so that we're not showing you exactly the same technique over and over again. So it's up to you how many of these you create, but what we've got is we've got 2 of the polka dot ones, and we've got 3 of a different but complementary design in terms of that lovely sort of purpley floral design. And all we'll do is we'll take 2 of the contrasting design, and we're going to stick them together. So we'll stick them together just like so. So we'll bring in this one here, and we'll add adhesive all over that purple polka dot section. We'll add our adhesive. So we'll go in with our tape pen, and it's much easier to add adhesive on this piece rather than on the back of there, because the danger with adding it onto the back of that piece is we could end up being a little bit overzealous with our glue and adding it where we don't need it. So a little bit of our tape onto the reverse of there. Then we'll bring in our piece like so. Get this piece going over the top, so I'm just lining up the 2 edges. We basically want them flush over the top of each other, so we'll line that up just like so, making sure that's nicely lined up. Of course, you could be using your tacky glue or even your all-purpose, just to make sure you've got a little bit of time to manoeuvre that. You can see we've got those 2 stuck together. Now we'll do exactly the same with this one here. So we'll bring in the next one, which is a different pattern to the one before. So we're going in sort of alternating patterns, and we'll add our adhesive onto the back of this one, just where it's patterned. We're not adding any into the recess there where it's got that inside of the paper. We just want it onto that pattern design. Then all we'll do once again is we'll take this piece where we've got 2 of the envelopes stuck together, and then we'll just hover over the top and stick those together. Give it a nice burnish to get all of that glue to grab. And you can see we're starting to build these being stuck together. So we'll just start to make sure that they are opening nicely. As you can see here, we've still got the ability to open all our envelopes just like so. So we've gone in with our florals. So the next one is going to be one of our polka dots. So once again, bringing in our tape pen, adding our tape just onto that printed design, that pattern design. And then we'll just hover over this one where we've now got 3 stuck together. We'll hover that over, and then once we're happy with where that's positioned, we'll just pop that over the top, give it a nice old burnish, and then we've got 4 glued together. And then finally, we've got our fifth one that's just going to glue to the back of here. So we'll pop some of our tape pen onto the pattern design. Of course, you can take a little bit more time than I am with your gluing, just to make sure you've got it all evenly distributed over there. And then this one is just going to go on the top of that one we've just added the glue to. And finally, just giving it a little burnish onto there, like so. And if we turn this sort of on the side, just to make sure that we've got all of those sort of pockets within the envelope still opening up nicely, just like so. Now what we've got here is we've cut a cover. So this cover is ever so slightly taller, just a little bit taller than the envelopes and ever so slightly wider than the envelopes. What we've done is we have cut it almost like a book, so it's got a little bit of a spine to it. And what we'll do is we'll pop our sort of wad of envelopes that we've got onto the inside there. So we'll bring in our tape pen once again onto the back of our stack of envelopes here, making sure we've got plenty around the edge. Little piece in the middle, and we'll stick this in so that we've got the openings facing towards the right hand side. So we're going to butt this up against that score line there, which is the start of the spine of our book, and trying to make sure we've got an even spacing top and bottom of that purple cardstock. So giving that a nice all burnish onto that. Then all we need to do is do exactly the same on this front flap. Like when we were sticking the envelopes together, we're just going to add our adhesive just onto that pattern section. Rather than trying to add it onto that side, it's just going onto the pattern section of this inner envelope. So we're going in with our tape pen just for speed, but it will still stick a coated card like we have with our purple cardstock there. And that's then just going to fold over our envelope, just making sure that spine's nicely lined up, and that will fold over there. Then we've just got a lip on there that will be the closure. And what happens with this is it creates almost like an expanding book. So as you open this, you can start to see, if we just start to prise these openings open a little bit more, if you like, it starts to have a little bit of an opening book. So if you've got, perhaps you've gone on a holiday and you've got little receipts you want to add into there, you've got all those little openings, all those little pockets that you can start to add all your memorabilia into. It could be your tickets, it could be receipts, it could be little maps that you've collected. It all starts to open out, and you've got the ability to add all of those into there. Now, a couple of different ways you can have this. You can have it as a book like that, so it opens on the side, or you could even have it a bit like a wallet, so it opens that way around as well. But in terms of a fastening, all we're going to do is you could use a hook and loop fastening, you could use a little magnet onto there, but what we'll do is we'll make a little bit of a decorative feature of this here. So I've got a piece of our lovely satin ribbon here. I'm going to find about the centre point, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of tape just into the middle, just so it's just going to stick nicely into position. And then we'll pop that, probably a little bit easier actually if I do it from the reverse. We can see that we've got it nice and central. There we go. That's just onto the reverse. Tell a lie, that's on the front. Turn it over, there we go. That's on the reverse now of our book. So just stick that down, add a little bit more tape top and bottom so it's nicely firmly adhered to the reverse of our little expanding book here, and then a little piece just on the other side. And then all we need to do is we just turn that over, and then we can just tie this into a little ribbon bow. Slightly unequal here, but we should be all right to tie it into a little bow, just as a nice little decorative feature sort of fastening onto our finished project here. So I'll just tie this rather into a bow. We've not got quite enough ribbon here. We'll tie it into a little decorative knot. Then we can just finish the edges of our knot off by sort of trimming them into a diagonal. So we've got our fastening onto there. We're just bringing our pair of scissors. We'll just cut those at diagonal just to finish it off nicely. And then you've got your fabulous little book here that you can untie, and you've got the ability to store all your items in there. Literally just made using 5 of your fantastic envelopes. So something a little bit different. You're using your envelopes. Instead of just making envelopes, you can make things like that, where you can add all of your memorabilia, your receipts, your tickets, perhaps from a special holiday, or perhaps from an event that you've gone to, anything like that at all. And it's all stored really neatly in a little book like that. You'd never think that that is being made from envelopes, which I love doing things like that. Now, I will recap the deal in just a second. I don't think we've got many more comments coming through for me to read out. We've got Al just saying, I have to look back for this show. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, you guys at home. Lots more inspiration in terms of envelopes coming up throughout the course of the day between myself and Sarah. Sarah is back at 12 o'clock UK time and 2 o'clock UK time as well. I'll be back at 5 p.m. for Friday Night Live. I have to say I'm already nervous about the game, but I'll worry about that. That's a future problem. But it's going to be a fun show, that is for certain. And we will sneak this back into Friday Night Live as well. I will say something I have remembered from the showstopper. If you are going for the showstopper, probably shouldn't say this, but the watercolour waves paper pad, is part of the showstopper. You know, that amazing one that's got all like the swirly sort of like oil on water, and we will incorporate that actually into a demo at 5 o'clock. We'll use that alongside the template. So although you do have all the papers within this pad here, and I will show you the designs now because they are absolutely stunning, although you've got plenty to get going at, you've got 36 different sheets here, and for some of the templates as well, especially the liners, you can get more than one on a sheet with these nice large 12 by 12 sheets, but there's nothing from stopping you using your other papers, using your other cardstock you've got in your collection. Although we do tend to recommend more of a paperweight for your envelope making, of course you can still use your cardstocks, all the gorgeous crafty goodies that you've got in your crafty stash. You can start to make envelopes out of them. Perhaps you've got your handmade paper that we brought you in birthday last year. Perhaps you've got lots of our linen cardstock. Oh, I tell you what would be nice, our mirror cardstock. Oh, can you imagine a mirror card envelope? That would be absolutely stunning, like you're getting the golden ticket inside, wouldn't it? Absolutely amazing. So you've got lots of scope, even outside of the amazing papers that you get as part of this collection. So as your 36 sheets of paper, you're getting 12 designs, 3 of each of those. And I won't show you all the templates, but I will just show you a couple here. I'll bring in a piece of paper behind so you can see a little bit easier. So we'll start off with the envelope template. Now you are getting absolutely tons of these, 28 envelopes in total as part of this collection. And you can see on there, it's telling you what size of card it's going to fit. So the template itself is not quarter of US letter, it's ever so slightly larger, which means it will fit perfectly a quarter US letter card. So if you've made a quarter US letter card, it's going to fit perfectly. You've got a little bit of room all around the edge, so you're not going to have to worry about it not fitting into the envelope. It absolutely will. So you've got your template there, you've got all those lines that you'll cut around, draw around and cut around at the edge. You've got your score lines in there, everything marked, wipe clean as well. So if you are using your fantastic heat erasable fabric pens, they do wipe clean. Nice and strong and robust with these being Mylar templates, and very, very easy to work with as well. They're being slightly translucent, which makes them very easy to craft with. Then you have got your coordinating liner template. So every single envelope template within this collection, within this fantastic box of goodness, you get your envelope template itself and your liner template. Once again, marked very clearly so you can see exactly when you're rifling through all your templates, you can match your envelope with your liner, so you know you've got the perfect pair to create the most gorgeous professional looking envelopes. You've got all your cut lines around the edge, you've got your score line in the centre. And when you start to bring these two together, let's bring in one of these gorgeous samples here. You can see by adding your liner into the inside, it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, how professional does that look? It does look like a really, really high-end sort of envelope. I'll bring to you a few more samples here actually, because I'm aware that I've not shown as many as I probably would have liked to have done. So you've got your nice little card on the inside. You can see here the envelope. If I pop those two sort of next to each other, you can see the envelope is ever so slightly larger than that card itself, so it's going to fit perfectly on the inside. You've got that gorgeous paper on the outside and on the inside as well, just choosing two lovely sort of complementary prints from that paper, and you've got that gorgeous, I mean, how stunning is that to be able to create all of your envelopes looking as beautiful as that? I mean, as crafters, we spend hour upon hour creating our cards. We pour our heart and soul into making our cards. We sometimes, quite frankly, we throw everything at them. So it always feels a little bit of a shame when you've created such a beautiful card like this one is here, to pop it into just a plain white or brown envelope. Why not complete that whole experience? You've got that whole sort of system between your card and your envelope. Everything is matching perfectly. Everything is looking super, super special. Even when you gift somebody an envelope like that, even just from the envelope, though, that recipient is going to know that the card inside is absolutely stunning, and it certainly will be by using your incredible envelope templates. Everything fitting together perfectly, everything working hand in hand. It's a totally comprehensive collection. You've got the templates themselves, you've got the liners, and you've got that amazing paper pad as well, which is absolutely incredible. Blimey me, that show has absolutely flown by. Before I go, I will just quickly read out these last few comments. I don't want to miss any of you guys off. We have got Pamela Malden on YouTube saying, great show, thank you, from Pam Malden, Barry Vale, Glamorgan. Pam, I don't know if I've read your name before, so Pam, if I've never met you before, it's lovely to have you with us. I hope you can join us for the rest of the day. And talking about the rest of the day, my goodness me, we have got an awful lot lined up for you guys at home throughout the course of today. That's our 10 o'clock show pretty much done, but you've got just an hour, blimey me, just an hour, so enough time to wake up if you're stateside, get yourself a cup of coffee. Ben and Sarah are back for Wake Up Call. Yeah, Wake Up Call is back for a Friday special, and I'm sure they will show you that whole showstopper of our incredible envelope collection. That'll be on for an hour, then coming up at 2 p.m. UK time, we do have our fantastic official launch of the Pick of the Week, even though we've kind of done 2 previews, but that's the official destination hour for your Pick of the Week, and a little birdie tells me might be a 60-minute deals coming up at 3 o'clock. And then, of course, I will be back at 5 p.m. UK time, myself and Ben. We are live at 5 for a fantastic show. Make sure you keep shopping between the hours. Lots to look for over on the website. I know they've added a few more items into that outlet sale as well. It's been a pleasure to have your company for this last hour. I will see you in a few hours' time. And until then, take care, happy crafting. Bye-bye.